Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatari. Hare Krishna. So welcome today to one of the most auspicious days of the year. We have no difficulty in recognizing that Janmashtami is perhaps the most auspicious day. But we don't oftentimes remember that actually Lord Balaram, whose Jayanti we are celebrating today, is actually non-different. He is actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If we are to say in one sentence in the whole class, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Balaram is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are no conditions, there are no ifs and buts. He is the first expansion of Krishna, and he's here to primarily serve Krishna. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all masters, but at the same time he is the supreme servitor Godhead. So he's come, whatever activities he does is primarily to serve Krishna and to accommodate Krishna's pastimes. And everything, all the creations, the cosmic manifestations, everything that actually come through Balram. And he's also the original guru. So we can see the position of Balramji is so critical. He's also and there's no difference between him and Krishna. He has all the 6 opulences. So once there was, when Srila Prabhupada's time, when they were in Allahabad, the Kumbh Mela time, so there was some difference of opinion between Yamuna Mataji and Madhudvisha Prabhu. And Madhudvisha Prabhu, so Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who was there, this was regarding the role of the exact position of Lord Balaram. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj took them to Srila Prabhupada because they were also very young, and I mean they didn't really have the complete understanding, so they went to him and he was like the judge. So then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said that Prabhupada, Madhudvisha Prabhu is saying that Lord Balaram and Lord Krishna are exactly the same. There's only difference is that difference of their color, of their complexion. That Krishna is like the blackish monsoon cloud, and Balaram is like the white spring cloud. So Prabhupada said, that's right. But then Yamunavati said, but Prabhupada, there's the Krishna and Balram there, but Srimati Radharani is only enjoyed by Krishna, not by Balram. So that's also the difference. So Prabhupada said, yes, that's right. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Prabhupada, how can both be right? So he said, you are right. So actually there's no difference, except that it comes in a different shade, color, and yes, that Srimati Radharani is the eternal consort of Krishna. But Balramji, in his servitorhood, also serves Krishna in such a way that in all the rasas that he serves, that in Shantaras he is there as Krishna's bed, his bedstead, his clothes, his shoes. Then in Dasaras also he is always serving him, fanning him, massaging him. And of course he is his eternal close best friend actually. So in Sakhyaras they always play together, eat together, kill demons together. They take turns. And Vatsalyaras also, there is so much of parental affection because he's the older brother, so he has that feeling for Krishna, protective feeling also. Except, of course, when the pastime of Kans, when Krishna dives in the river, so all the people who were on the banks, they were completely shocked, and they were, in fact, even Yashoda Rani and Yashoda Mai, and all of them fainted because they were so fearful. And Balram just laughed. They say, he's my brother, I know, there's nothing's going to happen. And in Madhurya Das also, he is Ananga Manjari, who's actually the younger sister of Srimati Radharani. So it's interesting to note that how, in his servitorhood mood, that while he is the older brother of Krishna, and he takes the superior position, at least biologically, but he takes the position of the younger sister, humble position of the younger sister of Srimati Radharani to serve Krishna also. So his only will is basically to serve Krishna and please Krishna to accommodate his pastimes. And basically Balram actually comes in, he has as we saw, I mentioned about this cosmic manifestation. So primarily his first expansion actually, he comes in 5 categories, 5 plenary portions. The first being the Mahashankarshan, because he's the original of the quadruple expansion. We know Vasudev Shankarshan, Pradyumna and Anirudh and Pradyumna. So all the four of which he is the original Shankarshan. And then Karanadakshay Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshay Vishnu, and Lord Anant Shesh. All the five are actually expansions which come from Balram. Now the first four are primarily for this cosmic manifestation. That is the as Mahashankarshan as well as the three Vishnu forms. But the fourth one, the fifth one, Lord Anant Shesh, actually is Shesha. Anant is only because he is unlimited in his variety of services, and that all the unlimited expansions of Krishna, he gives unlimited services. So he's called Ananta Shesh. So in that he comes primarily to, only purpose is to serve Krishna in every form that Krishna takes. So we understand that from Balram actually the whole creation, everything comes from him. So Krishna and Balram, there is no difference. And it is his tattva that empowers all the spiritual masters. So this is the enthusiasm that Balram has to serve. And he comes as the Lord Anant Shesh to, as a bed for Lord Narayan. And then we see in Lord Ramchandra's Leela how he comes as Lakshman. And, you know, he had absolutely no other existence except only to serve Lord Ram. Lord Ram was exiled, only Lord Ram was exiled, Lakshman, but for him, there was no question, not even for even a moment, that there was any other thought that what he would do. It was entirely, his existence was only to serve. So when they went to the forest, he was, he would actually clear the thorns and the pebbles, stones, when they were walking in front. In the evenings when they were resting also, he would before that, you know, pick up all those branches, trees, build a small hut for them. He would pick up all the roots and berries and so that they can eat. And his Lord and Lord Ram and his mother Sita. And then when they were sleeping in the night, he was guarding them. So it is said that for 14 years, he never slept even for one wink. So that was his entire service to Lord Ram. And then in Krishna's Leela, he comes in Gokul Mahavan. And we know that when Kans had slaughtered the 6 children of Devaki, after he heard the divine voice, then Lord Balaram, Krishna actually sends Lord Balaram to his, to prepare the womb of Devaki. So Balramji comes first, but then Krishna tells Yogamaya that I would like you to transfer Balramji to the womb of his original eternal mother Rohini, who was at that time in Gokul Mahavan. And Rohini was one of the wives of Lord Vasudeva, and she was already pregnant. So at that time, Rohini did not know, but she had one night a very difficult dream. And she felt that, in a dream, that she felt that actually she was already 7 months pregnant and she thought that she had a miscarriage. And then when she actually got up, she realized that it actually had happened. So she was in a state of great anxiety. But at once Yogamaya came and said that, don't worry, actually you will be having Lord Balramji coming, in your womb. That's the whole reason that this has happened. And then she goes, Yogamaya enters Yashodaji's womb. And then we know how she comes, how Krishna appears. So Balramji's whole purpose has been to, everything, he sets the whole scene. Everything is done to see that, Krishna's Leela unravels, but preparations are all done by Balramji. Of course, then when they were, Krishna and Balram were also the very close companions right through when they were born, that time, for their mothers, Rohini and Yashoda ji, I mean, they were their lives and soul. But not only for them, but for everybody who was there. All the gopis who were there, for them, they just could, somehow they didn't know why they loved Krishna and Balaram more than they loved their own children. And then so many pastimes are there when they were stealing butter. So when it was very, it's quite interesting to hear how they would complain, the gopis would come and complain to the Krishna and to Yashoda ji and Rohini that, they have come and stolen our butter. So they would be, but at the same time, and so Yashoda ji say, okay, then I will make sure that, now they will, I'll punish them. They said, no, don't do that. Actually, we are doing all this so that they come and steal. So we just, but we're telling you. So at one time they're complaining, but the other hand they love this activities of Krishna and Balaram. So that way they somehow because Krishna and Balaram, being the same, they actually wanted to see the deep love, the original love that the gopis had, and all the mothers also, which transcended the, not to see them as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They just saw them as the most lovable children. And when they grew up, then of course the demons would come, and Acharya said that the demons would come usually during lunchtime. So maybe it was to whet the appetite of the... every day, they used to come every day. So Krishna took care of most of them, but in Balramji's case, he took care of at least two very special demons. So Srimad Bhagavatam says that the first one, Pralamba, Bhagavatam calls Pralamba the greatest of all the demons, which is quite astonishing. So Pralamba comes in a disguised form. He comes when Krishna and Balaram would play with the Gopas. So one of the Gopas was not present one day, so he couldn't come. So this demon disguised himself, came exactly having the same nature, same sweet talk, and he came as this boy. And then they entered the playground. And that day they were playing a game where Krishna and Balaram were the leaders of two different teams. And then the two teams, whoever lost, would need to carry the other team on their back. So after the game, Krishna's team lost, and Pralamba, the disguised Gopa, he was actually in Krishna's team. So that was also, so he took the opportunity and he took Balaram on his shoulder, because they had to carry the victor. So, and then he started running away into the forest. So when he was running, so Balramji was also wondering initially, why is my friend taking me to the forest? And then, but then of course he knew, so then he let it go, because Balramji also, like Krishna, he likes to spar, he likes to play. Ultimately, all these demons also are blessed, because they have come in the presence of Krishna. They are all in various forms serving Krishna in their own ways. So he let it be for some time, and then he started becoming heavier and heavier. As he became heavier, then he could not, Pralamba just couldn't remain as a small child boy to carry the weight. So then he had to assume the shape of this original form, and then he had to grow, and he became massive. He was walking through the clouds. He was that huge to carry, because Balramji kept on increasing, so he was having fun. But then when he really grew to his full original size, then Balramji would give one big fist, and Balramji remained the same, small child, but he just knocked him on the head, and then he was vomiting blood and he died. So when they saw all the Gopas and all, they couldn't even see the size. When he fell, there was miles covered, so many trees and so many, everything was destroyed. So they really felt that he was, Balramji was blessed, and how he came out of death personified. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that all these demons also, they represent obstacles in our devotional service. And why is Pralamba called the most deadly of the demons is because he represents lusty inclinations and subtle inclination also for profit, adoration, and distinction. So, because we all have our inclinations to, to be appreciated, to be glorified, to be recognized, and then we get motivated by them. So, when we have these tendencies, we should know that pralamba is actually existing within us. And what to speak of illicit sex, that is all around, and that is the biggest bondage that we have, to keep us in the material world. So the demoniac aspect is the disguise. So just like His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was giving the analogy that in warfare you have when a soldier is captured by the enemy, there is a Geneva Convention. There's a code. You are not supposed to, you have to follow that code. You can't ill-treat them, and you have to, eventually then they either exchange them, but they have to be kept in a certain way. You have to protect them also in a jail, but not to harm them. At least that's supposed to be the code. But in the case of a spy, that spy will be, is someone much more deadly than thousands of soldiers. And Bhishma Dev actually explains to Yudhishthira Maharaj on the deathbed when Yudhishthira Maharaj comes to him for explanation on how to rule, and so many instructions he gives. So Bhishma Dev actually tells him that one of the ways is that you need to have good spies, because that's it's natural. Not that they'll destroy others, but at least you know what is happening. This is one way to know, because spies generally disguise themselves and they don't reveal who they are, and they move around and they get information. Then it's a matter of how it is used. So in those days, in the Satya, in this Treta Yuga, this kind of sattvic mentality, it was used in a positive way, in the sense that they would look at and see that how they can improve situations and what the worries were. But anyway, today also, when the spies, they play a role of representing the country, but when they're captured, immediately they're killed. So unlike a soldier who's captured, the spy is always killed, because the spy is extremely dangerous, and he can destroy the whole country, because he reveals so many things depending on what position they've reached. So Radha Swami Maharaj was saying that so the pralamba activities were really on the same level, that how so these our anarthas which become increased, they're subtle. So our deep desire to be to rule over others, or to get distinction, to crave for it, and to we are motivated by it. Our life becomes extremely focused on how we can get these aspects. And of course, the lusty inclinations for illicit sex becomes even more because of the nature of the world that is there. So we need to see from distance that from at all times we have to guard against that. So that's why pralamba's role as a demon who was disguised. In the same way, these anarthas within us also, they disguise. And then when they're disguised, actually, Maya will tell us that, this is the way to go, and they act as your friends. So the spy also, when he comes, they act as a friend. They get to mingle, and they get the trust of the senior people, and then gradually things get revealed. So same way here also, these because of the disguise, we have no, we let our defenses down, and then we become much more vulnerable. So the second demon was Dhenukasur, who came as an ass demon. So it is said that Krishna and Balram and the Gopas and all, they were playing in the forest, and the Gopas were very keen that, there's a very nice forest, Talvan, nearby. And the Talvan had very nice fruits. These tal fruits were very fragrant and very delicious, tasty. The only thing is that Dhenukasura had captured, along with hundreds of his demons, the entire forest. So then they went to Krishna and said, can we not go there? So they went there, and Balramji was the one. He just started shaking the tree, and all the tal fruits started coming down, and everyone was enjoying. And Dhenukasura, became extremely, very, very angry. So he became so upset, and he was huge. When we look at an ass, we think of just a normal ass. This was something we cannot even visualize. He was massive. His head was in the clouds. You can imagine the size of his body. And when he came, thundering towards the Gopas, it was really like an earthquake. Because can you imagine, it's like mountain moving at a rapid speed. So at that, you can imagine the fear which all the Gopas had, and then you can imagine how much they have so much trust in Krishna and Balram that whatever they say, they will do. They had complete faith in them. So that is one of the hidden reasons why we see in the demons' pastimes that the trust of Krishna and the Gopas into Krishna and Balram was completely total. They were very oblivious of anything else. When whatever they said, did, was entirely for them. Like in the case of Aghasura also, we know how they just marched into the mouth because Krishna and Balram were there with them. So same way, Dhenukasura, when came, so Balram took responsibility. They had that understanding between Krishna and Balram that, okay, now it's your turn or your turn. They must have managed to discuss each other. So then so again he played with him some time, and then the ass, he let him kick him with his hind side. And again, remember the size of Dhenukasura. And these were small boys. Physically, they were looking small. And then he kicked him with all his might. There was a huge mountain-like. So Balram let that happen. But second time when he did, he just caught his hind legs, and then he started twirling him. So just twirling him alone only, this such a huge giant demon lost his life. And he died. And then he threw him. So he was such an expert thrower that he threw him right on top of the highest tree. And there he was hanging there. And then that tree, because it couldn't catch the weight, then it fell to the next tree, and then fell to the next tree. So slowly, it was like a sight, it was a domino effect. Slowly, all of them were falling down. So, because all the demons started attacking, because they got very angry. And demons and demonic mentality, they cannot understand, like we see in Ravan's case, in Hiranyakashipu's case, even their followers, they cannot understand. In one sense, they are fearless till the time they are about to die. But when they are at that time, because they are so arrogant about their power, the kind of power they have, they just feel that they have a solution to everything, and they have tasted success. So we should also see that in that same way, when if we get a lot of success, the big danger is that we feel that we can conquer everything. So that these demons also came running, and then all of them, Balram told them and knocked them down. So Balramji represents the original Guru, and Srila Prabhupada said that when he was asked the meaning of definition of Guru, so Prabhupada said Guru means, one of the definitions, Guru means heavy. So although, Prabhupada was very light, so it was quite bewildering for them. Then he explained that if all the opinions of the intellectuals, the so-called leaders of the world, the scholars and the scientists and others, what they say is on one side, and if Guru says something, that the whole scale would actually go down. So that's the kind of weight that that Guru has. So, so in the same way, in the case of Dhenukasura also, so he represents gross material intelligence. And negligence of our spiritual, of the needs of the soul. So gross material intelligence means, in one sense, we have Krishna blesses us with knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness, and we see people around us, not just around us, but all over the world, we read about them. Some are extraordinarily intelligent, academically or brilliant, they create some things. They created, it's amazing, how do they do that? But if we forget that this is Krishna who's given, somebody has been given different, everyone has different, every person is blessed with different endowments. Just that some may have that, but if they feel that they don't remember Krishna, then the big danger is that that's where the arrogance comes. So and then we become like Dhanukasur and the demons, where we feel that we can conquer anything and whatever we say is true. So this gross material intelligence, today we see that our education system also, which gives us so much of information, so much of data, is mundane information which is also necessary in one way. But if it is de-linked from Krishna, then we see that it can just mold us into a certain personality, which can lead us to this kind of having this demoniac mentality. So, and the big danger here is that with the single biggest danger of the relying only on intellect is that then we start doubting because we look at the gross material transformations, whatever we have done, or creativities that we have done, which is on a material level. It may be in medicine, it may be in science, it may be in space. And then therefore, anything other than that, we have a strong doubt. And as it is said, that if the demon of doubt, if that steps in, then it becomes very, very difficult. So if we have doubt, then it is very difficult to accept Guru and Krishna. So actually, if we let the doubt fester, and doubt will happen the more we follow education without spiritual knowledge. So education per se is not a problem. Education, there are so many people who are educated, but if they accept Krishna in their life and they demonstrate that, there is then they understand where it is coming from. And we see so many examples of so many brilliant people, not just in our movement, outside also, who have really who are very humble. So it is not that the academic background is necessary, but if you are blessed with that and you use it for Krishna service, you can do wonders. But without that, then the route that takes us away is because we start believing in our own capability if we don't take Krishna or Balaram into account, and we start doubting. And when we start doubting, then the doubt increases, and then we disbelieve, find it difficult to accept Guru's word. So then Lord Balaram, when it came to, he is the best friend of Krishna. But at the same time, he is best friend of Krishna, period. But as part of his Leela, when the Kurukshetra war came, it is part of his Leela that he also loved Duryodhana. So, because he was his disciple, and we must recognize that Duryodhana, leave aside his demoniac tendencies, but in terms of his capabilities, he was really very capable, very strong, very powerful, and in skill he was even considered higher than Bhim in Gada. So probably not probably, he was the best in the world. So as a disciple, so looking purely from the aspect of his Gada Giri, he was very good. So Balramji also was fond of him. He loved him also. He loved Krishna also. But then when it came that, okay, my two disciples are going to have a war, so he just, he was neutral. So he said, let me be away. So he went on a long pilgrimage to various places. Of course, he knew what was going to happen. But then they had an understanding that Krishna is going to take center stage and then Balaram said, let me be away. So he goes to various places of pilgrimages at that time. And then he wanders into the Naimisharanya forest. So in the Naimisharanya forest, he comes there, and there the sages have all assembled, and there is a very nice Harikatha about to begin. And when he enters, then all the sages and all the greatest of all the sages all assemble there, so they all stand up. But the speaker, Romaharshana Sutta, was very intelligent, very brilliant, but somehow he didn't get up. First of all, he was in a higher position, elevated position, which, okay, because he was a speaker, so that may be. But he did not budge. Means he just sat there, not giving any respect to Balramji. And when Balramji saw that, so to teach a lesson, so he got very angry, and that at the disrespect that he's showing. So it was not that I am the supreme person, not that, but for posterity, because whatever activities they do is for eternally, for all of us to understand and follow. And that because so he spoke the following words, and I'd like to read it because it's quite relevant for us also. So he spoke that although he is a disciple of the divine sage Vyas, that means look at his credentials and background. Although he is a disciple of the divine sage Vyas, that is Romarshana Sutta, and has thoroughly learned many scriptures from him, including the law books of religious duties and epic histories and Puranas, all this study has not produced good qualities in him. And rather, now hear this, his study of scripture is like an actor studying his part, for he is not self-controlled or humble, and vainly presumes himself a scholarly authority, though he has failed to conquer his own mind. The very purpose of my descent into this world is to kill such hypocrites who pretend to be religious. Indeed, they are most sinful rascals. So the last sentence, and when I take the first sentence, the disciple of divine sage Vyas thoroughly learned many scriptures from him, including the law books of religious duties and epic histories and Puranas, and they are most sinful rascals. You connect the two. So what is missing is, what the middle part is, that because he has not learned to develop good qualities, and including self-respect, self-control, and so on. So this becomes also very relevant for us, that the most important aspect is, above everything else, that we look at ourselves as a understanding whatever position we are put in. None of us have had any control over what position we are in, where we are born, but we have control over activities, and through that we try to understand why we are here, and whatever blessings we are getting. Our life is a blessing, and everything that comes to us is a blessing. So in our case, specifically, the blessing is very apparent. It's obvious that we somehow got a connection with devotees, and we came to the temple, and we have come to Radha Gopinath ji. So if we recognize that as a supreme blessing, activities that are following, that are happening, there is a dramas for us every moment, every day. There's an unraveling of our drama, and it is particularly customized for each of us by Krishna. So whatever situation we have, our activities, our responsibilities, and our challenges, those will keep on playing. That will go on. They're like in temporary part of life. But this aspect, we have to somehow keep that primary. The most important part is that our blessings, that we have been connected to Krishna. So, in that, so because of this, Balramji showed his anger, and then he picked up a piece of kusha grass, just one small grass, and he touched it to Romaharshana's chest, and in front of all those horrified sages, he just fell dead. And the sages were completely shocked, because they said, "What have you done? I mean, we have just blessed him for a long life because he was going to give us this Hari Katha." And, so then Balramji was nonchalant, saying, "Okay, so I'll bring him back to life." He said, No. You are the Supreme Personality. They also knew that. You are the Supreme Personality. Whatever you do is perfect. But you have to set a good example. So then Balramji said, "Okay, then as per tradition, as per scriptures, the son lives with his father. So therefore, you bring his son, and I'll transfer all his qualities, all the blessings to him, and he will carry on." So then that was Suta Goswami. So Suta Goswami at Naimisharanya, when he speaks to Bhagavatam, he's the one who then gets all the blessings, eternal life, long life, and all the qualities, that pure qualities that he. So that also came from Balram. So in his enthusiasm to serve, as I said, that Ananta Shesh is also direct expansion from Balramji. Balramji is Anant Shesh. So in his unlimited glories, so it is said that he that Anantashesh has thousands of mouths because he's a massive, massive figure. He has thousands of heads, thousands of mouths. So even if he speaks for the rest of eternity, the rest of the cosmic manifestation tries to sing the glories of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of Krishna, he will not be able to even cover even one moment of what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has lived. So that is what has been told to us by Vrindavan Das Thakur, who is again Lord Nityananda's last disciple. And now we come to the most important and perhaps most relevant for us incarnation of Lord Balaram as Nityananda Prabhu. So Anantashesh comes also as Nityananda Prabhu, as Balaramji comes as Nityananda Prabhu along with Lord Chaitanya. And as he has been doing, it is his entire being is only to serve and accommodate the pastimes of Lord Krishna or Lord Ram and now Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So as Radha Swami Maharaj very nicely explained that here he took a kusha grass, Balramji took one piece of kusha grass and just touched Roma Sutta and killed him. It was relevant for that time. But for this yuga, Lord Nityananda, the same Balram, he took the same blade of kusha grass between his teeth and actually begged all the, went door to door in a very, very soft and very pleading way, begging them that just to take the words of Lord Gauranga, not just to take the holy name. So Lord Nityananda's primary you can say activity really was that how he could spread Lord Chaitanya's glories and name to every door. So there are many, many stories about that, but we take the most famous one where he and Haridas Thakur, they were going together as a pair, and then they come to, so they heard that perhaps the two most dacoit people at that time in that entire town was Jagai and Madai. So they were warned, don't go to them, you can, because they were going to so many houses. So they said, no, we should, in fact, if we go there, then if they convert, then just imagine, so many people will take to Krishna consciousness. So they went to both Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda, and then they begged Jagai and Madai. And Jagai and Madai were, they had, it is said that Yamraj didn't have enough books to cover all those sins of Jagai and Madai. The activities were just unlimitedly bad. So, and they were eternally drunk and they did so many bad things. So in that moment when, so they got very upset when Nityananda Prabhu approached them, and they started shouting and they started chasing them. So they ran off that time. After they ran off, then they, in fact, there's a very humorous conversation between Haridas Thakur and Nityananda Prabhu when they're running, and Haridas Thakur is, very, just to enhance the love between the two. So he's saying, whenever I go with you, you get me into trouble, why did you have to go to them? Because Nityananda Prabhu insisted that, no, we should go to Jagai and Madai. Haridas Thakur was ready to say, okay, we'll go to some others. They say, I come with you and now see, we have to run at this stage and this stage of our life, we have to run for our life. So they ran back but then they felt that, no, we should also, so they again approached Jagai Madai another day. And this time, though, they were furious because their arrogance was affected, the ego was affected, how can they come again? We've told them not to come. So they actually, so Madai took this big pot and smashed it on Nityananda's head. So Lord Nityananda's head, so it was actually, there was so much blood streaming down. And, but see the reaction of Lord Nityananda. He was, he's falling at the feet of Jagai and Madai. He didn't run. He was just saying that please, just take the name of Lord Hari and all your life will be transformed. And in the meantime, Haridas Thakur went and the message went to Lord Chaitanya that he's, this is what has happened. And Lord Chaitanya, for Krishna, this is in this case Lord Balaram, but any devotee of his, if he's if he's affected, if he's Krishna's protection, he gets means he gets very angry. He would always like to protect. So in this case, he was furious. He was very angry, and he asked for his chakra, Sudarshan chakra, and the Sudarshan chakra came, and he was about to. Once that was released, then there's no end. There's no way that they can survive. So he was about to send the Sudarshan chakra to kill Jagai and Madai. But then Lord Nityananda, fell at his feet also and said, "Please, my Lord, because you have come here to, you are the embodiment of mercy, compassion. You are the most compassionate, and besides, Jagai actually. So what had happened is that Madai had hit, and the second time when Madai picked up the pot to beat Lord Nityananda, who was bleeding still in spite of being bleeding so heavily." So at that time, Jagai actually then saw that, Madai is, Lord Nityananda is, this is somebody different person. He's not ordinary, because in spite of so much of bleeding and so much of pain, his only concern is that we chant. So he actually, Jagai stops Madai and says that, no, don't do that. So then Nityananda Prabhu tells, he sees this one quality, and that is the nature of a guru of Krishna, that, they take one among millions of bad qualities, one good quality, and then they will bring it forward. So he immediately tells Chaitanya that, see, actually Jagai saved my life, he stopped Madai. So immediately Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so happy, and then he embraced Jagai, and then Jagai became ecstatic, and he started chanting the holy names. And then Madai is saying, but we were partners, so how can he, he also committed so many sins. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, no, I can't forgive you. What you have done is unpardonable. It is beyond my capacity. But only if Lord Nityananda decides to forgive you, then only I can. So then he falls at the feet of Lord Nityananda, and Lord Nityananda just immediately, of course, he just there was no question of any ill feeling or any thought. He was just his entire life was only that anyone speaks. He only saw any moment that anybody would take to the holy name. So when he just told him to just chant, and then seeing his compassion and mercy, then so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, of course, left Madai, and then they became completely transformed. And then to the extent that they also went to, and then they were so remorseful at what they had done. So they wanted to rectify, and it was very difficult because they had harmed everyone. So they had to stay in the same town, and all the people whom they had affected, and so many people had many complaints against them. He had abused so many people, both of them. But still they had to stay there, and many were not convinced that they were transformed actually. They might be thinking that they're just faking it, or now that they were about to be killed, whatever. So they went through that, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then told them that, okay, you can then, we gave them the service, and they were, maintaining the shoes of all the devotees who were coming there and bathing in the Yamuna, so in the Ganga. So so Jagai and Madai's transformation was complete, and it was entirely because of Lord Nityananda. So so basically, whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's glories we see, Lord Nityananda has everything to do with it, because he was the one who actually sent Krishnadas Kaviraj to serve Raghunath Das Goswami in Radha Kund, and then instructed him to write the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was the one whose last disciple, Vrindavan Das Thakur, wrote the Chaitanya Bhagavat, and to glorify Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was the one who actually instructed Raghunath Das Goswami, our Prayojan Guru, in his advancement. And he was also the one who introduced Rupan Sanatan Goswami for the first time in Ramkeli to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So wherever we see, now the 6 Goswamis are all the powerful, most worshipable representatives of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Krishna for us. So Nityananda Prabhu has a hand in everything that we see. So now from him, we see whatever we know is entirely through the mercy of Lord Nityananda, Lord Balaram. And finally we see that they have given us Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada has also come, as we see that Balramji is the original servitor, servitor Godhead. And he's the original guru. So all the acharyas, our parampara, and all of them have been blessed and empowered and specially sent by Lord Balaram. And in that, we see that Lord Balaram, Srila Prabhupada has come for us in that same parampara to us. And now in Srila Prabhupada's case, when he started the movement, before that, the Gaudiya Math was there, and Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, had installed Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and along with Radha and Krishna in all the 64 temples that he had built. That was which was perfect. But when Prabhupada came and he went to the West, all over his emphasis was to have God Nitai installed. Because he wanted Nityananda's blessings, particularly because you see, without Nityananda's blessings, it is going to be, especially in the West, and through the West, I mean, in one sense, the West is not different. We are not different from the West as far as Mumbai city is concerned. So, the mentality and the Western background is very much entrenched. So, how much emphasis Srila Prabhupada put on the Nityananda Mahaprabhu's mercy, that God Nitai were this absolute, you can see, the most important aspect of our lives. And even when and they're so merciful that even for homes, for the devotees also, it is, there are much less complications or much less requirements, much less offenses when we worship them at home, compared to the stringent and more stricter requirements of the dressing and taking care of the deities of Radha and Krishna. So that was Prabhupada's mercy, and he immediately recognized it. And it is not a coincidence. It's not a coincidence that Srila Prabhupada, who's directly blessed by Lord Balaram, that he's actually born the day after Janmashtami. Right? So it is as if Krishna is born, and then to us he has given Srila Prabhupada. Us means the whole world. We may see him, but it is a matter of time before the world will see him. So the very next day. So it's also not a coincidence that today is Balram Jayanti, and tomorrow is the most auspicious day of the 60th anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's departure. Exactly 60 years ago tomorrow, Prabhupada left the shores and went to the US. So that was his, you can say it is not a coincidence. Prabhupada, you know that before Prabhupada went, he went to Shantipur, and he begged, he went to the Samadhi of Rup Goswami, Jeev Goswami, at Radha Damodar temple. He begged for their blessings, he begged Advaita Acharya's blessings, he was crying, hey, please give me the strength to go to the West and spread this movement. So is it a coincidence that Balramji was with him and the success that followed? So it was Balramji's Jayanti, the next day Prabhupada departs. So Prabhupada went, and all the difficulties we saw, the impossible challenges that we saw, the heart attacks and the health crisis, and he was almost killed there, all that happened, Balramji was right through them. So Krishna, through Balramji, was with Prabhupada every moment. I mean, these are not coincidences. These are very clear cases of how we can see the connection, how signals that we have to take that as, if any proof is needed, and also as the instructions for us that how we can further whenever our moments of weaknesses are there or we are wavering, we need to somehow associate ourselves with devotees so that we remember, we understand that our mission is that, first of all, we are so fortunate that we cannot even imagine our good fortune. We will never be able to understand. We cannot understand our good fortune. We can say it, mentally we can understand, but realizing our good fortune is, if we realize our good fortune, we will be pure devotees, so at least most of us are not. So in which case, then at least if we mentally know that there is something something has happened, it on one side, compared to all the so-called difficulties, maybe health, maybe financial, maybe relationships, so many issues may be there in our lives, come and go, they don't match. This glory, this is eternal. We have been, from millions of lives that we have come through, we have been given this chance not only to come to the temple, to associate devotees, to come to Srila Prabhupada's movement, to hear about his glories, to know what he has done, the changes he has brought in the entire world. All that we have been given, everything. As they say that you can take the horse to the water, but the horse has to drink. So we are like that. We are those horses, we have been given that. Now it is up to us to take that. So all that is, the whole patra has been set. So if we somehow remember this in our times of weakness, in our times of challenges, that we have been supremely blessed. That's the honest truth, and that is the eternal fact. Beyond that, then there are, like how the demons came every day. And you can imagine the fear, I mean, every day. So all those who are residents there, because they turned to Krishna, they were happy. But otherwise, you can imagine how the kind of the life must be. So we also have demons in different forms. But they are Kalyug, small-sized demons. In different forms they come, but they are demoniac in many ways. So it's a question of whether we follow what we do. And the only way, we can't do it on our own. Right now we hear a lecture, we get infused. But the key is to have the association and to follow a certain practice. So that is why when Prabhupada's first emphasis was that you chant the holy names of the Lord. Why he said that is because you have to have a certain base. A certain base, meaning a certain platform, is necessary for a constant daily activity in our life. Now, in our daily activity, whatever we do, it becomes mechanical. And this is almost by definition. We brush our teeth, we get up in the morning, we have a bath. All that is entirely, it becomes ritualistic. We don't think. So then how do we, this most important instruction that Prabhupada has given, Krishna wants us to come back to him. How do we do that? Is that one quality that Prabhupada had and all his glorious disciples have is mindfulness, that awareness. So somehow if we can be aware of our presence, because what happens, we are told in the Bhagavad Gita that we're always hankering and lamenting. We're hankering for what we want to have in future, and we're lamenting for what problems we had in the past. Right? So we're always in the past and crying over it, or we're happy about something and living in the past, and we're desiring something in the future or anxious about the future, but we don't look at the present. So in our present, this amount of gratitude that we need to have and to follow the process, if you somehow bring that or take it on a day-to-day basis, and we see that we could not foresee so many things that happened to us a week ago, a month ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, so many things. We had different worries and then things turned out to be different. So in the same way, rather than, we had to plan for that. But the most important is that we follow the instructions and have that close connection on a regular basis. So that's our takeaway from Lord Balram Jayanti, that Balramji, non-different from Krishna, same opulences, he's all the 6 opulences, he's there, but he's also here to teach us as the original Guru, how to serve Krishna through his disciples. And the service to disciples is that we try to please them and try to change our life. So today, what we see outside in the world is completely opposite, in the sense that we are told to just glorify ourselves, project ourselves, promote ourselves, and look at weaknesses of others. Immediately we spot them down. And you see in the media, you see in social media, everybody has jumped, any criticism, anybody has done something wrong, small or big, everybody comes in. So here actually we have to go against the thing, because In spiritual life, it's the other way around. The more we criticize, the bigger the challenge is for us. So it will be impossible. And we can't chant. So at the same time, we need to introspect internally. So on this day, we can only pray to Lord Balaram and to Srila Prabhupada, his eternal glorious representative who has come in our life, that he can, they can always guide us and create a situation where we will always be under their shelter. And it is up to us. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.